What's going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazik. I'm a fight guy, a Forbes contributor, and I also write for Heavy.com. And we are powered by Fight TV and presented by Bet Online, going over every single fight on the UFC Fight Night Jessica Eye versus Cynthia Calvillo card. In the event that you are just watching this particular fight prediction, make sure you look at the end of the video. There will be a link for you to look at every single fight or every single video associated with this card. So without further ado, let's jump right into the breakdown. All right, Zarrukh Adashev has stepped in as I'm talking about, you want to talk about late replacement. This is really a late replacement for Ryan Benoit, Brian Benoit, depends on your pronunciation, but he dropped out of this fight. He was supposed to take on Tyson Nam, and it's a really interesting concept. Now, they have Tyson Nam's record here as 0-2. That's not his record. That's his record in the UFC, but it's not his record overall. Tyson Nam, he is 18-11. He's 36-year-old veteran. 10 of his victories have come by KO, one by submission. He's lost 3 times by KO, never been submitted. And Zarrukh Adashev is very new to mixed martial arts, but he is not new to combat sports. He is a accomplished kickboxer. He comes from Uzbekistan, even though he lives in Brooklyn. He is 27 years old. 3-1 is his record. 2 knockouts, no submissions, 1 decision. His 1 loss came by a submission loss in his very first fight against Cody Mooney back in 2015. Didn't fight again in mixed martial arts for 3 years and has won all 3 of his fights since he returned to the sport. This is a really interesting fight, and I know that a lot of people may not, because neither of these guys' names are huge or what have you. If you've been around mixed martial arts for a while, you know who Tyson Nam is. He got knocked out by Marlon Moraes back in the day with World Series of Fighting. He's had some other interesting fights. He fought Sergio Pettis recently. He is a -120 favorite right now, and Zarrukh Adashev is a +100 underdog, which is still pretty close, right? And you would wonder why a guy who's 3-1 would be so close in the odds to someone who is so experienced like Tyson Nam. And Tyson Nam's a very athletic, very skilled striker. But Adashev, I did my research on this guy. He is a punishing striker. He is very explosive. He fights with a relentlessness that is like, I'm telling you, fans are going to like him. They're going to like him. I think that win or lose. So if I could compare him to somebody that you may have seen fight, the first person that popped into my head, almost from a size standpoint, as well as just the way he fights, and I'm hoping that I'm getting his name correct. It's Guido Vianetta, I believe it is. I know he's from Argentina, I believe it is. Their fighting style is similar. The only thing I would say is that Adashev doesn't appear to necessarily put himself in as much danger as Guido does, but it's a similar style, similar build, and both of these guys crank when they punch and when they kick. Adashev is, like I said, a kickboxer, and you can see that so much in his style, but you can tell also he's worked on his takedown defense. The thing about it is, in this fight, I'm not even sure he's going to need his takedown defense as much as he might need his standing grappling defense, because Tyson Nam doesn't look to take guys down much because he wants to win on the feet himself. So the fight that he had set up against Ryan Benoit was a fight that, obviously, if you've seen Benoit fight, you know Benoit wants to wrestle. You know he wants to take Tyson Nam down. That's not what Adashev's going to more than like. I mean, 95% of the time, you're probably not going to see him shoot for takedowns unless he's hurt and he's, panic grappling. So this figure should be a stand-up battle, but you got to think, Tyson Nam didn't train for a stand-up battle. He's trained to stop takedowns. He trained for a guy with a different type of muscular build, a guy with a different type of athleticism. And this is a late replacement being thrown in. Another part that troubles me about Tyson Nam, if you watched any of his fights, especially the Sergio Pettis fight, I thought he just isn't active enough. He falls into this, he's a chronic counter striker, and he falls into this sense of just like it's almost like Uriah Hall. Uriah Hall has all of these weapons and all of these different things and strikes that he can deliver, but he seems almost to be a perfectionist in his mind, and like he's trying to pull off this perfect video game combo, and if he can't pull it off exactly like that, he won't fire at all. And that aesthetic, being like almost obsessed with the aesthetically pleasing strike, can manifest itself in being just not active enough. And I think that sometimes that happens to Tyson Nam. And I'm going to tell you, in this fight against Adashev, he cannot afford to be that guy. So he's probably going to have his counter opportunities, and there is a chance that he catches Adashev and knocks him out with something amazing, because Adashev is going to come, he's going to bring it, he's going to look to land these bombs. I don't think he's going to be reckless and wild, but I do believe he's going to come to try to land some bombs. And I honestly believe, man, I think he's going to outwork Nam. And I'm not sure if he'll get the stoppage, because stopping Nam is difficult. He hasn't actually been stopped in a loss for quite a while. I'm going to look back just to double check, but I know I believe it's been a minute since he was lost by stoppage. Yeah, he hasn't lost by stoppage since the head kick knockout at the hands of Marlon Moraes, and that was 7 years ago. So he's lost fights. So, I mean, the loss to Moraes kicked off a 4-fight losing streak for him, where he lost to Cody Bollinger, Jeremiah Labiano, and Fernando Vieira. But then after that, he didn't lose a fight for 5 straight fights. He beat Ali Bagatinov with a head kick, and that was in Fight Nights Global. And then, of course, now he's lost 2 fights in a row to Kai Kara France and Sergio Pettis. But both of those losses, as I mentioned, were by unanimous decision. So this is a test of all of that. It's a test because Adashev comes to finish. That's what he comes to do. And he almost fights in a pace where I'm not even sure if he... Yeah, I'm not even sure that if he doesn't get the finish, if he can win, that's the way he fights, because he's going to punish a guy. I'm a little concerned about his stamina, because he is taking this fight on short notice. He does put so much into strikes, and if Tyson Nam can kind of outlast him to the later rounds, maybe that gives him an opportunity to kind of take advantage of a guy if he's been able to survive that initial onslaught. Because I'm going to tell you, this first round, Adashev's coming. He's coming. I can almost guarantee you that he's coming in the first round. So I'm going to go with the underdog here, though. I'm going to go with Adashev getting this victory by a 2nd round stoppage. I know I just mentioned Tyson Nam hadn't been stopped in 7 years. I don't know. I just feel like Adashev's going to get this victory. I'm going with a 2nd round stoppage for him. And I don't know. Something about this style, I think sometimes a late replacement is kind of set up to fail. I don't know if that, I believe that for Adashev this time. I believe he's set up with a matchup against a guy that he can actually get. And I'm going to go for him getting this victory. I'm going for the underdog, Zarrukh Adashev, by 2nd round stoppage.